Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, good morning. Have a nice day. My name is Muhammad Jufri. I'm from the 5th semester of STKIP Pegir Bangkalan. My major is English department. Today, I'd like to explain about my lesson plan. Before starting my explanation for today, I'd like to say thank you very much for our beloved lecturer, Mr. Matt, as the tutor for our classroom meeting. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we would like to talk about our lesson plan. If you would like to talk about lesson plan, of course, lesson plan it is very important for us. It is needed very much by us while we would like to make all students, while we would like to teach our students well. We are as the teacher, before we become to the teacher, of course, it is the first preparation that we have to prepare as well as possible. Alright, we are as a teacher, we would like to make all students of us understand well about our material. So how to make it? So I think because of it, how to understand it? I think because of it, because of lesson plan, we will understand well. We will understand about understanding of student. We'll understand student understand or the student don't understand about our material. I think because of it, we will understand it more. We will understand about our students more. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, the topic of my lesson plan is understanding structure of English. If you would like to talk about structure of English, of course, it is the first thing that we have to understand. Before we understand, before we talk in English, we would like to talk in English and we would like to understand how to talk in English. Of course, we have to, for the first time, we have to understand about structure of English. And materials needed are book, pen, paper, and reference book. All right, next slide. Actually, in lesson plan, there are four kinds of types. They are warm up, teaching contents, and the others. But for the first time, I would like to tell you about warm up. The timeline is 10 minutes. Warm up for the first is greet students and give announcement or motivation. Student activity. What will students do? The students will respond what the teacher said. And for the second one, teacher takes attendance list and say to all students present one by one. And student activity, students will respond well by saying present. For example, like the teacher asks to Dewi. Dewi will say by present. For example, like teachers ask Dewi, and also the students will Dewi will say by present. All right. For the third one is teacher asks about the last lesson that has been studied. Student activity here. The students have to remember about the last lesson and answer the teacher's question. Of course, as professional teachers, most of teacher before the teacher teach the student, of course, the teachers always ask the last lesson, and the students will also will remember about the last lesson. And for the fourth one, teacher asks about students' homework. Each students have to submit the homework if there is homework. Alright. For the fifth one is teacher gives a little explanation of the lesson title that going to be taught. All of students have to take a book, and pen to prepare their lesson. Alright. And for the second one is teaching content. It is one of the types of lesson plan. Teaching contents here, one of the types of lesson plan. For the first, teacher gives a little a title of lesson simple past tense. For example, like simple past tense here. But what will students do? Students have to listen. What will teacher explain? Of course. Before that, the teacher only gave a little explanation. But for teaching content, teacher gives a title of lesson. Of course, here teachers have to explain more. And for the second one, teacher gives the way how to make sentence of simple past, also of simple past tense, such as subject here in the positive tense, subject plus verb to and object, and negative tense subject did not and verb 1 and also plus object, and interrogative tense a did subject plus verb 1 and also plus object. What will students do? Students have to pay attention. I think the student have to pay attention more what will teacher deliver. I think all of students have to understand it more, understand it well. All right. For the third one, a teacher gives some examples of simple past tense, such as Dewi went to KV last night. Dewi did not go to KV last night. Did Dewi go to KV last night? Here, some examples of simple past. What will students do? Students have to understand about the example of simple past tense. Of course, students have to understand. We can measure it. Teacher can measure the student understanding about simple past. All right. Next slide. Practice. Practice. The teacher gives all of student. The timeline here 30 minutes practice. Teacher gives to all students for making story in simple past tense form. And for example, like here, Cinderella. And teacher asks students to tell the story in front of the class. And also, the teacher asks two students to submit the paper of the story. And for this last one, teacher gives ice-breaking reflection, reflection to make all students happy. All right. And student activity. What will students do? Students have to do what the teacher asks. And for the second one, students have to tell storytelling. Of course, here it is needed very much by us. While we want to make all students active in our class, in our material, of course, we have to ask to all students to story, to tell or to tell this homework, to tell this storytelling. For example, like it. And for this, the third one, students have to submit to the teacher. And for the fourth one, students have to follow what the teacher do. Of course, here for the first time, for the last one, teacher gives ice breaking to make all students happy, because as my teacher said, we are not happy. We are not happy for teach student. While the student happy, of course, students the knowledge will come for all students easily. And for the next slide, application. Application, the timeline is 30 minutes. The teacher asks to the student to open reference book on page 13 and asks them to do the practice. All right. And what will students do? Students have to open the book and page 13 and do the practice. Of course, the teacher have to do it, because we can measure the understanding of student, and we can give the knowledge of student, and we can give the reference, and the student will understand where is the references. And the teacher for the second one, the teacher asked all students to exchange the practice paper, and correct together. Of course, for the second, student have to exchange the practice paper and correct together. Of course, because of it, the students will understand the mistake for the first time. But for the first time, the teachers have to tell it is the wrongness, it is the trueness. So that way, the students will understand more about the wrongness and about the trueness. And for the fourth one, teacher review the practice and give consolation. And students have to make a video. Student have to focus teacher's review. All right. Here, student review and gives consolation. All right, of course. Teacher gives homework. And for the last one, teacher give homework making video with the story and that have been made today. Of course, for the student have to make a video with the story that has been made today, and have to submit it in the next meeting. All right, we have to make all students, and also it is not only that, but also we can make all students understand, and we can make the mentalities of student can be better than before. The next slide is my unit test. For the first unit test is easy. For the second, my unit test is medium, and for the last, my unit test is hard. We can call it by hard, I think. Here for the part three is review the storytelling and answer the question. For example, like Cinderella, I think because of it, the students will understand how to read a book very well. I think that's all for today. Thank you very much. See you next time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.